My name is Gracie Solomon. I'm 14 years old and I'm here to tell my story. I just want to say before we get into any of this that it's coming straight from me, it's all me, and no one else is telling me what to do. My brother died protecting me from my father, Aaron Solomon. My father's a monster. It makes me want to vomit. I've been minimalized, but now I've found my voice to be able to tell you that my father raped me, hurt me, and I'm not going to be a victim of this monster. He's a rapist, he's a molester, he's a liar, and he's a killer. I hate my dad. I'm absolutely terrified of him for everything he has done to me, my brother, and my mom. I don't want to call him my dad anymore. He's never listened to me. He has hurt me sexually, physically, and mentally. He has caused so much pain for my family. He has tried to manipulate me and has manipulated others, and it has worked. Ever since I was born, my dad has done awful things to me. First, he never let my mom bathe me. It was always him. So by not letting my mom come in at all, it meant that he could do anything to me. I would always tell my mom I felt like I was more like a wife to him instead of his daughter. He would always bring his phone into the bathroom with him. At the time, I didn't know it, but I strongly believe he was taking pictures and videos. I had to learn to hide my body from him by flipping my hair over because he wouldn't leave me alone while I was showering or getting out. He would make excuses like me needing a towel or my hair was hard for me to wash on my own. So he would be able to help me. He is a sick person. After showering, he would sit me down in his lap with only a towel to brush my hair. He brushed through my hair so aggressively I would sometimes cry. I had terrible scars from that, and they are still somewhat visible. I even remember taking a bath as a young kid, probably first grade, and him washing me with a Dove bar soap completely up and inside of my privates. I know now that it was probably his hand, but I was too young to know any better. All of my grandparents knew about the abuse and still supported him. When I was at his house at night, I would sometimes feel like I couldn't control my body, or I would get sleepy and wake up in my dad's bed. One night, I woke up with rashes on my inner thighs, both, and my privates also burned frequently. One of Grant's friends remembers looking over the upstairs railing and seeing my head slung over, and Dad wrapping me in his lap. Every night, my dad would lock his bedroom door. Sometimes I was sick or crying, most of the time probably missing my mom so much, and I would bang on his door and scream for him. He never answered. While I lived with him in 4th grade, I practically broke my back by falling and hitting the edge of a concrete culvert and big rocks. It was almost impossible to walk for a while. He didn't care enough to even take me to the doctors. I have records now of how bad my back was injured 3 years later from the incident. In the car, if we said something that made him mad, he would speed up really fast, and it would scare me and Grant. Dad is super manipulative and has manipulated so many people. He even tries to convince me that I am being brainwashed by my mom and everything I remember never happened. He tries to scare me into thinking my mom's house is unsafe. He knows how scared I am of robberies and kidnapping or getting taken from my mom. In fact, he took me away from my mom for years when I was just ending my kindergarten year. Later on, he told me that I was never going back to my mom and that she was actually dead. I don't remember when I found out that she was alive, but I know Grant and I both believe she was dead for years because of him. One time at my grandparents' house, my dad's parents, I remember hearing my grandpa say to Grant that he wanted to kill my mom. It made Grant so mad he started throwing stuff in the room. And I was so hurt and started crying. After I was finally able to start seeing Mom again, my dad got mad because we didn't want to leave her. When the cops showed up, they told Grant and I that we had to leave in the cop car and Mom couldn't be the one to take us. They said my dad specifically asked for us to be taken in the cop car so we would learn to not disobey him again. My mom filed for an emergency court hearing to get us back. We were in North Carolina for one of Grant's baseball tournaments when my dad said we had to go back home for court. It was only my dad and I. Grant stayed. We stopped at a hotel room in Asheville. My dad only got one bed when I had asked for two. It made me really nervous before we even got in a hotel room. When we went to bed, I remember him slowly getting closer to me until I was on the edge of the bed. I kept waking up by feeling his feet rub against mine. I kept waking up and then finally realized I felt something hard on my lower back, close to my butt. I drew an illustration of what it was like. I felt really scared and knew it was wrong. At court, Dad's attorney got inches away from my face and tried to manipulate me into thinking what my dad did to me didn't really happen by saying, "Do you really think your dad would do something like that? Do you actually remember that happening?" He was so close to me that I could smell his cigarette breath, and his tone really scared me. When I learned I had to go back to North Carolina with my dad, I was completely broken and didn't want to stop hugging my mom. He told my dad to pull me off of her and leave because he could. I eventually was able to go to family therapy, sometimes with my dad and Grant. One time I told Grant he could leave the room because he would always be there for me. I told him I was terrified of him being at my school and trying to get me. He got so mad. He reached to throw a chair at me, but ended up storming out of the room. He was screaming and his face was blood red. My counselor tried to calm him down. Through therapy, I have set boundaries with my dad so that I would feel better. Over the past couple of years, he has respected my boundaries, surprisingly. Now, ever since Grant passed, he ignores everything I have said. He is trying to force me to come live with him this Sunday. I am so terrified of him. I'm so scared. I can't go in general or without Grant. I'm not going. I begged him in counseling to never do this, and he promised me he would never try to take me again. He is a liar. I'm so scared of Dad. I've seen him do terrible things to people I love and myself. Because of this, I strongly believe he killed Grant, and now he is going to kill me. Grant and my dad never had a good father-son relationship because of my dad. Dad would always harm, threaten, scare, and stress Grant out so badly. Before my dad took us from my mom, Grant and I were scared of Dad because of his ridiculous and terrifying behavior. From trying to kill my mom and constantly yelling at her, to freaking us out from all the things he has done to us and our mom. When he took us, he was just as mean and hurtful as he is now. One of the things Grant said when Dad tried to kill her was, "When I'm 6'4", you will not be able to do this anymore." I have always thought about that so much. Grant meant that, and he was scared and so hurt by his dad. That is just awful, and Grant was so young. Dad is controlling in many ways. One way was by giving Indian summons and telling him that he would always have control over Grant. Dad would just scream at Grant, like I could hear it from everywhere in the house. It was awful. One time Grant and I were watching TV together, and all of a sudden Dad comes up and grabs Grant by his shirt, pulls him up, and just yells at him in his face. It was so bad to watch. Dad would get into Grant's head so much. He would limit food and call him fat, criticize him just to the point where Grant would feel so awful. Dad would limit the time Grant had in the bathroom, on his phone, etc. But why the bathroom? Dad would keep our phones in his bathroom, which is locked, in his bedroom that is also locked. Dad never wanted Grant to be around Hannah, his girlfriend, or any of his friends. My dad even kept college letters and threw away some of the ones he didn't like. One of those multiple could have been what Grant wanted. Dad only wanted him to go to Ivy League schools. Dad also used Grant's truck as a way to control him too. Grant was so scared of him. He would apologize so much that if he did anything wrong, Like if he was late to hit or if he was too sick, he was scared Dad would get mad. Even if he missed a day of school, the whole rest of the time he was worried about Dad. The day my dad took us, Grant tried to get out of the car to jump out to get back to Mom. When he tried, Dad grabbed Grant's wrist so tight, Grant thought it broke. And recently still, I would notice Grant touching that same wrist. Grant had a plan to run away with me, so we did. We got a few things together and went to our mom's house. Dad is and was an awful dad to Grant. I would never want Grant to even have to know somebody like him, and I'm happy for Grant because he will never have to deal with him ever again. Dad would take any or all of his anger out on Grant. Anger outburst. He made Grant train all the time and never had a break, and visit lots of schools. Dad would stalk Grant and come to every single practice, training, tryouts, just literally about anything. Grant was even scared enough to open up to Pastor Steve about help for our family, Grant, Mom, and I. Pastor Steve and Dad lied and said Grant wanted to talk about his faith and strengthening his faith. That was said during the funeral, even though Mom and I have always known he went for help because he told us. Grant was my protector and my mom's. I didn't realize how much he protected us. However, now that he's gone, my dad is attacking me again. One of Grant's great friends told me that Grant had plans to reopen and testify for me and him again in court as an adult. A month after his 18th birthday, he had mysteriously died. I want my dad gone. This was from November 24th, 2020. I want zero contact with him, mail, text, in person, etc. Every time he contacts me, I can't get over it, and my focus in school and out is always disrupted because of all his texts and mail. I don't want him at school or games. I get so scared when he's around, and I feel trapped. I can't even go get a drink or go to see a friend or anything because he's right there on the bottom row. On November 19th, there was a basketball game. He got to the girls' game an hour early and was filming them, as well as almost coming in contact with me, at least 10 feet away and coming. By sneaking out, then the police left because they thought he was gone. So then my dad came back into the gym, and that's when he almost approached me. The school has forced me to go with him before, and I do not need him there. It's terrifying. I know what he's capable of, and that is what scares me. He has traumatized me, and I don't want it to be like this anymore. He needs to stop. Sometimes I'll even check behind curtains downstairs because I think he is there. He has violated the restraining order countless times. I'm not even going to the games anymore to see my brother be honored because of him, and it's not fair. I want custody completely flipped to my mom. She will show her medical records that she is clearly not mentally ill. She has never gotten to show those in court. It's all just lies. I want no contact, period. He makes everything so hard, and it's so scary, and someone needs to stop him. I need an order of protection. I've tried to get one with the sheriff's department, even though he will just break it. I really need someone to do something. I need my own attorney. My guardian ad litem isn't even talking to me, and she's doing things and saying things that I disagree with. No one in this court has listened to me, or Grant, and that is why he is gone. So please, I really need someone to listen to me. This is from October 21st, 2020. Ever since Grant, my brother, passed 3 months ago yesterday, my dad, Aaron Solomon, has been stalking us and just coming at us by throwing away and forgetting about boundaries I had set. I set boundaries for myself a while back, and he pretty much went by those for almost 2 years. But right when Grant died, he came after me. He literally just entered himself into our home and was hugging me and playing with my hair. I hated when he did that. It makes me gag, and it makes me think of the things that he has done to me. Soon after, he said that he was coming to get me. He has taken me away from my mom multiple times, and he has used the police to take me. It scared me so bad. He hasn't left me alone, and he has even contacted my friends and close people by sending videos of them. He even filmed up the homecoming court's dresses. It makes me sick seeing him or talking about him. It's so messed up. We recently got a restraining order put in place, but he has been violating it a lot. He isn't supposed to contact me, but he has been. He is coming to school a lot, and it scares me so much. I haven't been able to go to school because of how scared I am of him. What makes me even more scared is that I've witnessed how mad he gets, and when he's mad, I know he's really mad. I know he killed my brother, and now I'm scared of him coming near me or coming to get me again, or hurt any of us. This is an essay I wrote about what I want to do in the future, and it's about the FBI. The career I want to pursue is to be in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I know that this is something I want to be a part of, and I have a few reasons behind this. I want to be in the FBI to help the innocent. I can use my thoughts, and it is just something that I really, really want to be, because it is extremely empowering. Helping others makes me feel content and happy. I want to feel that, and I want to make others feel better. I also want to be in the FBI to give justice to those people who have done. I have not received that. And eventually, when I do, I want to give back and help others. Well, I mentioned that I want to help others, especially women and children, in the same situation, and I want justice for myself and my brother and my mom. Family. Granted, running's a big thing. I love track, and just friends, and God. He's helped me through all of it, so. Well, God, He's answered everything, honestly, and maybe that sounds cliche, but I mean it. He does, and I've seen signs recently, and now it's kind of Grant and God, so. I'd like to go to UT and run track. That's something that I really want to do, and maybe I can go ahead and look into being an advocate. I don't know how long the classes are for being an FBI, but that would be amazing. For me, freedom looks like just that non-stop feeling of fear just goes away. And I've always wanted to just be a normal teenager, and hopefully that's maybe soon, but to me, just all my problems going away and just being, I guess.